that's huge. That's well over 22 metres. He likes that enormously. There's Tom Walsh.
I've got dyslexia, so schooling was never really my thing. My mother used to wake me up every morning at 6 a.m, get me up, and then she would do some reading training for half an hour. You'd say something like, I don't know if I can do that. And he'd go, well, why can't you? And being a 17 or 18-year-old boy, you'd kind of go, well, I don't know, I just don't think I can.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a good reason not to be able to do it, right? And so he kind of built me up with this belief that like I could kind of do anything. Like, why can't it be? Why can't you throw 20? I didn't want to sit back here now and talk to you and say, well, I don't know if I could have had another throw.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that I couldn't. 250 days a year I'm away from home. Dana goes to me, you know, it's hard for me too.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. Yeah, so sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional.
Yeah.
Hey guys, welcome to the Waterlad Podcast. Before we get into this episode, I've got a very exclusive deal for all the Waterlad listeners out there from NordVPN. If you don't know what a VPN is, it's basically the ability where you can change your virtual location. Awesome if you're wanting to watch live sport anywhere in the world. It was a game changer for me as a player. I used to love watching trackside, and then I could do it from Japan, South Africa, England, wherever you are in the world. No issues with a VPN. And NordVPN is the quickest VPN platform in the world, and we have an exclusive offer for you right now. To get the best discount off NordVPN, go to nordvpn.com/waterlad and you will get 4 months extra free with any 2-year plan, and it's also risk-free for the first 30 days. If you find you don't like it, let them know. You'll get your money back guarantee in the first 30 days. The link is in the podcast description below, so make sure you go click on that and go and give it a go.
What a lad, what a lad, what a lad, what an absolute lad.
Oh, what a lad. Well, today I'm joined by the man who is the greatest shot putter on the planet and has been for the last decade at least, where he's consistently been picking up medals in the world champs, both indoor and outdoor, the Commonwealth Games, and of course the Olympics Games as well. He has put a 7 kg ball of iron 22.9 metres, which is an Oceania record, and he is not done yet. He's also someone who everyone I speak to speaks incredibly highly of, and he's officially the most loved man in marshlands. It is, of course, the great man, Tom Walsh. Welcome, mate.
Hey, thanks for having me, mate. I don't know about how much of that's true, but let's just take it with the go.
Mate, I didn't realise how closely you lived to me. Like, I offered to take you to the studio, but you literally live 200 metres around the road. So anyone
and you drove.
Well, I don't want to walk around with a tripod.
Yeah. No, so we love it over here, mate.
Yeah.
We're doing the old podcast in one of our lounges, which is quite nice, and on a lovely sunny day in Christchurch.
Mate, how good! And you are officially the mayor of Marshlands. You suggested once Richie left, but I think it might have been before that.
Yeah. Well, look, I've been here for longer than Richie, but hey, look, no, it's it's a good spot. Obviously, we got Bottle Lake Forest across the road.
Yeah.
Which, let's be honest, I don't do too much in. But Dana loves.
It's a good idea.
Yeah. Dana, my wife, loves taking our dog there and going for walks and runs and so forth.
Yeah, I'm surprised I hadn't seen you around the community more often, but then I heard how often you're on the road, and far out, you're on the road a lot.
Yeah. I'm probably about 250 days a year I'm away from home.
250? No wonder I don't see you.
Yeah. So it was definitely a different time through COVID when I was here, right?
Yeah.
For everyone involved, because usually I'm away from, April, May, through until mid-September, October.
Yeah.
That's that kind of window. And then there's always, the rest of the time I'm around New Zealand, or I went away for 6 weeks earlier this year to Europe in the indoor season. So that was January, February, March. And so I'm never I'm not here a lot, which, is I think my wife enjoys.
Does she ever travel with you?
Bits and pieces.
Yeah.
But we try not to spend more than 6 weeks apart at a time.
Oh, yeah.
That's kind of like the sweet spot we've
Yeah.
figured out. But also on the world, like on the touring stage, there's not a lot of room for partners, just because, in rugby teams, there's, the 30 guys who go on tour plus the support staff of 15 and 20.
Yeah.
You times that by 2, there's, what's that, 100 people, where when you go to any competition, there's at least 150 athletes. And then if every one of those athletes wants to bring a partner or a coach or a manager or something like that, it just balloons up. So they don't love you bringing additional people for obvious cost reasons. So we try to get her to a base wherever we're based, which is sometimes America, sometimes somewhere at Europe, hopefully somewhere sunny so she can work on her tan.
Who do you travel with?
A lot of the traveling is by myself, to be completely honest. Look, I've had Quinny, who we just talked about briefly before.
Yeah.
He's come over a few times. Obviously, my coach, Hayden Hall, comes over a little bit. Obviously, we travel a lot with the other shot put boys.
Yeah.
We try to figure out where each other are because we don't all do the same comps. Mainly do a lot of the similar comps, but so we try and travel there. But I think probably the time I spend on the road most with is Hamish.
Oh yeah.
Me and Hamish kind of get on pretty well, even though we're completely different. Like he's tall and skinny, and I'm short and fat. So it's quite different, but we really get on really well. And obviously, it was great watching him, a few months ago do what he did, which is, pretty impressive.
So the high jump runs throughout the year at the same times as the shot
similar
put, all
times. Not necessarily the same competitions.
Yeah.
But again, we'll try and work in a base together.
Oh, yeah.
So because, mate, when you're away by yourself, I've been doing this now for 11 years. Yeah. So it can get quite boring by yourself because sometimes you're around other athletes and it's not too bad. But if you're at a base, sometimes, a week by yourself can be a bit of torture if you're just going to training and, coming back. And if you've been there before, then you've seen the sights and, there's only so much you can do, right? So, we try and work in where we can.
Yeah, and you seem to be a guy who loves the social aspect of sport.
Yeah.
You love a beer, you love hanging out with your mates, and that's sort of where shot put, you don't quite get that same camaraderie as you would in a team sport, but you obviously, I've heard you've tried to make shot put quite a social sport.
Yeah, well, so I just when I'm, as I just said, I'm away a lot, right? So shot put doesn't always go your way, just like any sport.
Yeah.
And so you've got to try and find a thing that, I guess, keeps you going, right? And one thing for me is that connection with other people.
Yeah.
You joked about the Mayor of Marshlands before, but, some of the boys really joke because I'm not sure if you've watched Sprint, the Netflix.
Oh, yeah,
documentary.
I've watched the first couple.
So, legitimately, some of that's, pretty much how it is, where all the athletes are in one hotel and there's one big dining hall. And people joke that, I come into the dining hall and I've got to talk to 5 different people before I sit down and get my food. So I'm quite a social guy and over the years, I've got to know a lot of the athletes. But especially the shot put boys, usually we try to have a beer look, if you don't want to drink, then you still come along for a Fanta or whatever, but and have a meal afterwards because, as I said, this year's bit was really tough for me, and one of those things that probably kept me going was that social side of, just talking a little bit of shit, and just having a bit of fun with the boys, because it's an individual sport at the best of times. And as I said, we run on our own schedule, whether it's travel, whether it's training schedules. So, when we can, I try to, shoot the message out to the guys and, do something that's not just athletics related.
Yeah, I love that. And one thing I got to sort of address before we get into it was obviously the question came in a lot was around your lookalike Joe Moody. I know he used to live in Marshlands.
Yeah, just across the road from you. Yeah.
And I think I remember, I thought I saw him at the supermarket one time, and I almost went up and tapped him on the back, but it was you the closer I got, and I was like, geez, I haven't even met you.
Yeah. No, it was old Joe. It was quite funny that it hadn't happened to me prior to him asking me about it happening to him.
Oh, yeah.
So it happened in reverse.
Yeah.
And then almost as soon as he asked me about it, I was like, no, it hasn't happened. And then it happened straight away. And the funniest one was, which you might be alluding to here, was I was catching up with Richie McCaw.
Yeah.
And we're out at a cafe, and there's this guy sitting and staring at us the whole time. And I was like, oh, he's staring at Richie, it's Richie. And anyway, we had out at lunch, we're chatting away, and then this guy finishes, stands up and makes a beeline for us. And he just comes over and, oh, Richie, mate, obviously amazing what you've done, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, have a good Christmas and stuff. And also, Joe, to you too, mate, keep it up. Yeah, cool, thanks, mate. Yeah, great.
Just run with it.
Yeah, just run with it. So, thank God Joe's a good-looking man. So, he's a good man, and that's Joe and I. It's not too bad.
Identical, no relation though, obviously.
No relation at all. Yeah.
Well, when he came on the podcast, he mentioned around him handing out chocolates to young girls in the Marshlands community, and it went viral on the community page that there's a pedophile out there. And I was wondering if you ever copped any flack for that.
No. Not necessarily that, but there's a few mistimed photos out there that could get me in a bit of trouble. But no, nothing. No, I haven't got that. That's all Joe, I think.
So good.
Yeah.
Well, I am keen to hear your journey as well from the sort of start. I know you're a Timaru born and raised boy. What was it like for you growing up in Timaru?
Yeah, it was great, mate. Timaru was a big enough place where there's a good level of, especially for me, I've got dyslexia, so schooling was never really my thing.
Yeah.
So Timaru was kind of a good level of sport too, where there's, it's competitive enough, but you're to some degree you're a big fish in a small pond.
Yeah.
Even though it's still quite competitive. So I love that, mate. Like I played rugby, cricket, hockey growing up, shot put, athletics. I did kind of everything.
Yeah.
So it was great. Obviously grew up on a farm just outside Timaru, where my parents still live today. And that was a pretty cool, my parents are pretty hard ass.
Yeah.
My mother used to, and it's triggering, and Dana does it when she wants to wind me up. But, my mother used to wake me up every morning at 6 a.m. And she'd go, "Oh, it's a beautiful day in South Canterbury. Time to get up, Tom." So it's a little bit triggering. So that was, she'd get me up, and then she would do some reading training for half an hour.
Oh yeah.
And without my mother, and also I was really lucky to have some good teacher aides through high school. I wouldn't have kind of got through high school.
Yeah. What age did you find out you had dyslexia?
I was quite young. I think I was like 9.
Oh yeah.
And my nanny at the time was just like, he's definitely got dyslexia. Like he's just not, progressing as he should. And the teacher was like, no, he doesn't.
Yeah. Okay.
And she was like adamant that I did. So it was really, I was lucky to have Mel as who cared so much about not just me as a person, but also I guess my schooling at that time.
Yeah. What are the signs of someone with dyslexia?
It's so different depending on what you like. I guess how the child reacts, right? And I probably just switched off in class, and just got more and more focused on being outside the class, and probably caused a little bit of shit because of it, right? Because I was, rather than actually having to give the teacher an honest feedback answer to what was on the board because I couldn't read it, I was probably a little bit cheeky and acting out a little bit. I wasn't say too bad, but there was those kind of things. But I think everyone kind of reacts slightly differently. And for the longest time, I thought I was dumb. I thought that it was a big issue, and then it wasn't probably until high school, until I was probably, it's like maybe year 10, so that's fourth form for the oldies out there, where I realised that these kids were making fun of me because they wanted a teacher aide, and I had a teacher aide who was helping me do the reading part of it. And so they were just jealous. But also, mate, it helped me in so many different ways. Obviously I'm a qualified builder, now a weekend warrior only, but I can look at a set of plans and just visually see how it's kind of all going to work, right?
Yeah, okay.
But you give me a document around all the specs and stuff like that, and I'll get through it because I can kind of word association kind of thing, because I know building, I can kind of fill the gaps a bit.
Yeah.
But I can visually, I can see things I would drive somewhere once and I'll know how to get there a second time.
True. Oh,
and so
cool.
I guess my visual awareness and stuff's really good because I've had to have something else in place of the reading stuff.
Yeah. So you've sort of worked out your strengths and your weaknesses and worked towards your strengths.
Yeah. I had to work a lot on my weaknesses though, which wasn't fun at the time, but looking back now, it taught me a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
A lot of dedication. And not instant gratification as well. I reckon my mother, and bless her soul, she would have done it with me for 6 or 7 years, and every morning I would have put up a stink.
Yeah.
About doing it.
Is this the 6 a.m. wake up
Yeah,
to read?
yeah,
Far out.
yeah. So,
Every morning for 7 years.
yeah, probably.
Jeez.
Yeah, I reckon probably from when I got it, we got this. I don't know the name of the book, but it's a big red phonetics book.
Yeah.
So you go through that and just like learn how to sound things out and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, she was bloody dedicated. That was for sure.
Yeah, man, that's cool. And obviously you're good at sport though. Like I've heard you're a gun cricketer, good rugby player, good at athletics obviously as well. So that was your outlet.
Oh, absolutely. I love sport. Yeah, it was definitely something that I love school. I did actually enjoy school, and I enjoyed certain subjects at school, like really good at maths.
Oh, yeah.
That was kind of a replacement, I guess, for the English that I wasn't so good
You
at.
could see all the numbers like
Yeah,
Rain
yeah, yeah. I'm not I'm not like Rain Man. But no, like I still enjoyed school. But yeah, and it was just a great place to play sport too. You know, as I said, I played rugby, cricket, and hockey and athletics through school, and it was just I think, you know, any kid should play as many sports for as long as they can, right? Because if you're truly going to be professional, and you know this, that it's a long time being a pro, and sometimes it's not that fun.
Yeah.
You know, because there's ups and downs and there's hard times, whether it's training or career-wise or whatever. So it's I'm always just like kids, like if someone's telling you can only do the sport, don't do that sport.
Yeah.
You know, because you either burn out or you figure out you don't like it, or, you know, yes, sometimes there is those kids who, someone like Jack O'Gill, right?
Yeah.
Who I'm sure we'll talk about shortly, but like he's one of those kids who fully committed from the age of like, I don't know, probably 13 or 14.
True, to shot put.
To shot put, only
Far
shot put,
out.
right? Like I think he left school at 15 because he was good at shot put.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was, I think you should definitely play as many sports for as long as you can.
Yeah, I agree. And I hear it so much in this podcast. I like the different crossover skills that you get from other sports is just priceless. And what position were you at rugby?
Number 8.
Oh, were you?
Yeah. I wasn't like overly big at school. Like I was about 95 kgs.
Yeah.
So I was a good size, but I wasn't, I wasn't big. I was pretty aerobically fit. I think I did 15.5 in the beat test or something like that.
Yeah,
so like pretty handy at the school level. I was a fast bowler too, so I had I think that probably crossed over for fitness stuff. So yeah, I had a good fend on me for some reason. I'm not sure what that was about, but
Deadliest fend in schoolboy rugby.
Yeah, there's actually this photo of me playing for South Canterbury against Otago. I was actually going through my old hard drive the other day, and I saw this photo, and it's me fending this guy in the face, and his feet are off the ground. Essentially, he got his I think it's his neck or collar. Got his collar in my hand, like pushing him away. Quite funny. Yeah.
And cricket, you're a fast bowler.
Yeah, all rounder.
Yeah.
It was. I love I played cricket up here even after school too. I played a few games of rugby, but had a shoulder injury that kind of I was like either get that operated on or to keep playing rugby or not, and just do cricket and athletics. So I loved it, mate. I was pretty lucky to come up through a pretty good generation of Canterbury cricket players.
Yeah.
Out of my under 19 Canterbury cricket team, there was 13 of us, and I think 10 of them have played first class cricket.
Oh, geez.
5 of them have played for the Black Caps. So I was a bystander, to be honest. You know, I just kind of sat back and watched these guys go. So still love it, and that was I was a cricket tragic. I still am a cricket tragic, mate.
Yeah.
Love it. And I've got to meet some of my, I guess, heroes growing up, which is something pretty cool.
Yeah, it's good. So how do you end up in shot put? How do you end up down that route?
Yeah, I kind of did it all through school.
Yeah.
But cricket and rugby were my main 2 sports at high school, and I kind of did athletics because I was okay at it.
Yeah.
And I do it for school sports, regionals, South Islands, and nationals, and that's kind of the 4 events I do every year.
Yeah.
And I just kept on doing it and kept on getting a little bit better, and then I went to like World Juniors, which was like under 20s, under 19s, under 20s, and bombed out completely. Like I should have thrown probably 2.5 meters further, or 2 meters further than what I did.
What do you put that down to?
Well, my top 6 inches.
Yeah.
I still remember, and this is how long I've known Quinny for. Quinny came to our Canterbury under 17s camp before the Nationals.
All right.
And came and talked to us that, well, you know, the Canterbury Cricket would get him in for one talk, and he'd talk to us for an hour and a half about mindfulness and, you know, how you can kind of take yourself away and, you know, get prepared for, you know, bowling or the next ball, or the next, you know, whatever, and put the last one behind you. And I just thought it was a load of shit. And that was, you know, I was probably 16 at the time. I was like, oh, who's this guy?
Yeah.
And anyway, so then it's not a load of shit, turns out. And I bombed out completely at World Juniors, and just, it's kind of, I didn't forget initially how to throw. You hear about those people that kind of go, well, shit, what foot do I kick with, or what hand do I hold the ball? I didn't get there, but I just got tight and I got short, and I probably stopped breathing, and I did all these things, you know, and then worried about the outcome, and so I bombed out there. And also the kicker is Jack O'Gill, I was 18 at the time. Jack O'Gill, who was 15 at the time, wins World Juniors.
Oh, far out.
So, like, unheard of, a 15-year-old winning, you know, men's shot put at World Juniors.
Yeah.
And obviously everyone's like, Jacko this, Jacko that. Oh, and I was jealous, mate. I was really jealous. And I was just like, you know what, I might play another season. That was my last season of playing rugby. I was like, oh, well, my shoulder's still a bit funky, and I want to probably put a bit more time and effort into throwing to beat this young guy from He's getting all this praise, and people think he's amazing, and like, I know I just have this feeling that I can do something, you know. And then so that was in 2010. In 2013 I went to Europe for 6 weeks for try qualify for World Outdoor Champs for seniors.
Oh yeah.
And get over there, first comp comes out, I throw 20.07, and the qualifying standard is 20 meters and 10 centimeters, so it's 3 centimeters off. I've got another four or five comps over here. Piece of piss. I'll nail this, you know?
Yeah.
And you get to the last comp, I throw 20.09. I do everything to try and get that extra centimetre. I kick the toe board back, which is the wooden thing that runs the circle. You know, I do everything you could possibly think of, you know. Go out and see the mark, you know, tell them that they're not quite marking it. Nah, they're like, nah, this is 20.09. There's nothing like a 24-hour flight home to make you think about what your choices have been. And what I figured was, you know, I was building full time. I was playing cricket still. I was playing Prem cricket here in Christchurch, and I was trying to throw a shot. Yeah. You know, I remember some days I go to work, and I get to work at 7:20 or something like that. Work all day, go to cricket training at 5:30, 5:30 to 7:30 cricket training. Shoot home, get some food, and go and throw or go and lift. I wouldn't get home until 9:30 at night or something like that. Yeah. Know? And I was like, well, I'm burning a candle at three ends, and it's only got two. Like, something's got to go here, right? And I was going, well, like, I'm going to give this a year and see what happens. So I kind of pulled back from building. I worked 3 days a week. And again, the whole jealousy thing from the boys, oh, you're bloody half-timer, you know, you only work 3 days a week. And then I also stopped playing cricket. I think I was 21 at the time. So I stopped playing cricket. And then I got a medal at World Indoors in 2014, like literally 6 months later. I was like, this isn't bad, is it? And it kind of all went from there, mate. So it was, the failures really made me think about like the choices I was making, and kind of made me look pretty fairly into the things. Yeah.
What's that commitment to, you know, go over to the Europe for 6 weeks, like obviously, and to have to, you know, go only 3 days in building, like what's the commitment there? Because obviously financially at that point wouldn't be too lucrative as it.
No, absolutely not. Look, money never kind of, and I was very lucky. My parents helped me a lot, which was really good. Yeah. But I also had, you might know of them, the Hickmans, Kevin and Joe Hickman. They helped me a lot early on. I still remember Kevin coming to training one day, and he'd watched me train, and he just said to me, all right, Tommy, we'll give you this. And I was just like, fuck. You know, like, that's a lot of money to give I think I might have been like 20 at the time, or 21 or something like that, you know. Okay. So I got a lot of support from my parents, but also, you know, from Kevin and Joe, and also from Mike Greer Holmes too, who I built for. Yeah. Mike was awesome. He was kind of like, mate, look, just do what you do, and if you can work, that's great. If you need time off, that's good. That's fine too. Yeah, so cool. I was really lucky to have a supportive group around me, and I never kind of really, I think this is about being young, right? I never really thought, what happens if I don't?
Yeah.
You know, it was
Yeah.
kind of just like, stuff it, let's go and see what happens.
Yeah.
And we'll just see what happens.
We got no other commitments
Yeah,
or
yeah,
responsibilities
I'm
in
young,
life.
you know, I
Yeah.
don't have a family or kids or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it was just, it was just like, let's have a go. And I didn't even think of a downside. Not that I knew there was obviously there was a downside, but
Yeah.
I never kind of, I don't know why, I just never kind of came to me. I thought I was so focused on proving people wrong
Yeah.
because I got told by so many people in athletics that, yeah, cool, you might throw 20 meters one day, but Jacko's our guy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
From real young?
Yeah. Oh, from probably 18
Yeah.
when Jacko really started kicking on, 18, 19. So many people kind of told me that. And I think probably one guy who I haven't actually mentioned here was Ian Baird, my coach at the time, and probably coached me until I was 24 or 5.
Yeah.
And he was like, Beardy, he knows his stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing that Beardy did so well was you'd say something like, I don't know if I can do that. And he'd go, well, why can't you? And being a 17 or 18-year-old boy, you'd kind of go, oh, well, I don't know. I just don't think I can.
Yeah.
Well, that's not a good reason not to be able to do it, right? And so he kind of built me up with this not false belief, but like this belief that like I could kind of do anything. Like
Yeah.
why can't you throw 20 meters?
Yeah.
And it just step up and up and up. And so I think with his kind of mentorship and positivity, he kind of made me believe that this young white boy from Timaru who has no history of throwing shot put or no probably real understanding of throwing shot put either,
Yeah.
that like, you just keep going and you can get there, So, it's quite it was quite interesting, like looking back now at, I guess, the importance of him. Like he knew what he was doing coaching wise, but the biggest thing was that positivity and building you up and building your belief up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what was you mentioned Jacko, like what was your relationship with him? Obviously you were envious of all the attention he was getting. He was
absolutely.
He was a gun. I remember all his gym clips going all over social media. He blow up. But what was your relationship with him like?
Well, first of all, I can't do some of the stuff he did back then, even now. But, mate, I was incredibly jealous of Jacko. I disliked Jacko only because I was jealous of him.
Yeah.
There was no good reason for me to dislike him. So, but now, look, Jacko and I, we're different characters, but we get on really well. He beats his own drum and so do I. So there's not a lot of crossover, to be honest, but there's a lot of respect for one another. I do enjoy having him around. He's always doing something crazy. But it's pretty cool. I think people in New Zealand understand rugby and cricket.
Yeah.
People don't understand like how rare it is for us to have two shot putters who have been in the top 8 in the world for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
We've made every world championship and Olympic final since 2015 together. That's like no one else has done that from any other country. No other two pairing have ever done that for them.
Yeah.
So that kind of shows you how good he has been behind my success over the last few years, like the last decade. So I think we're incredibly lucky to have that. And I guess hopefully we've given young kids like a pathway to see that if they're a big kid and they like throwing shot put and they like playing rugby, well, maybe they can throw shot put rather than play rugby,
Yeah.
And I didn't really have that, and it didn't stop me, but I think it wouldn't have been a bad thing if it was there as well,
Yeah. Did you know quite young that you were going to be you had the potential to be really good at it? Were you really strong naturally, or did you work pretty hard for that?
I just thought I was going to play professional sport.
Yeah. And you didn't know what
Didn't
sport.
know what it was.
It's either going to be rugby, cricket, or shot put.
Yeah. So, and again, it was just piece by piece.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
And then when you committed to the sport, like you said before, that's when you felt the success, you felt the journey go, and you're away.
Yeah. And that was that confirmation bias, right?
Yeah.
shit, this isn't bad, is it? When it kind of starts to all click and starts to all go. So, of course, Dana, my wife, says it was really her that helped it because we met in 2014.
Oh, and that was the start.
That was the start of it all going. So Dana takes the credit as well.
Well, fair enough. She probably played a big part.
Oh, has she what?
Yeah.
Yeah. She's brutally honest with me, which I need sometimes, to pull my head out of my ass, kind of thing. And she's there for when it doesn't go well, because there's plenty of times, as I've talked about, where things don't go well. And being an individual sport, right, there's nowhere to hide from that. And also our sport is so black and white.
Yeah.
Like people, people just aren't interested if I don't throw 2250. They don't understand how challenging it is to throw 22 or throw 2150. They just don't. And they never will.
Yeah.
I don't expect them to, but it's kind of just the, it's just our sport. So she's an absolute star. She's there for me no matter what.
Yeah. How hard is it? How hard is it to throw 22, Mick? Talk me through that whole process.
Well, in terms of stats wise, there's only been, I think, about 38 guys who have thrown 22 meters. Ever.
Oh, well.
And out of that 38 guys, I think there's about 15 that are throwing right now.
Yeah.
So that shows you how competitive this generation of shot putters is.
Yeah.
And look, mate, like the amount of time and energy, it's not harder or easier than any other sport, but it's not a fast. You don't get good at shot put fast.
Yeah.
Even though Jacko was good young, he wasn't good until 6 or 7 years into training. He trained professionally for 6 or 7 years before he really took off. Especially until he got competitive in the senior ranks.
Yeah.
It took him 6 or 7 years. And to be fair, I was probably a little bit quicker than that, because I didn't really start training for shot put because I had so much other stuff going on until I was 19. But so 19, it took me to 24. So that's 5 years to kind of get somewhere.
Yeah.
And then, as I said, it's so black and white, right? You either do it or you don't. There's nowhere to hide for it. So it's just it's a bloody tough sport, and it's everything else that goes with it. I book all my own travel, I book all my own accommodation, I do all that kind of stuff. And something goes wrong, it's on me, right? I've got to figure out what to do. And look, I love it because I get to choose what to do too. So there's that side of things too. So I wouldn't change it, mate. I really enjoy throwing shot put. I really enjoy the challenge of, figuring the throw out, figuring out how to make that ball go far.
Yeah.
It hasn't gone that well for me this year. Early season it was, but not when it really counted. And so it's still there. The drive's still there for it. Yeah.
Yeah. And how much of a difference is it physically to mentally? Where's the biggest challenge that you see?
Oh, mentally. Absolutely. Now that I've done it, I've been there, I've done it. Mentally is the biggest part. And it's so important. I keep banging on, it's an individual sport, but the narrative you tell yourself can change things so dramatically, so fast too. So I think mentally, and the work that I've done with Quinny over the years, I was probably really good. I was shit hot for so long mentally. What went with that too, though, was I was going well.
Yeah.
So there was
easier.
I was doing all the work, I was nailing everything, but there wasn't anything for me not to think that wasn't going well too. I was winning stuff, I was throwing far all the time. And I think for me, COVID kind of put the spanner in the works dramatically because we talked earlier, but the connection thing's massive for me, having that social interaction. And, for 2020, coming and training through lockdown and stuff like that, there was no fun in it for me because I just didn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. I didn't see, in 2 months, I'm going to be overseas competing against these guys, having a beer with them after the comp, talking about a shit. It wasn't that, right?
Yeah.
So that kind of put me into I would have been difficult to live with, as for sure. And then, this year, especially early on, things weren't quite going to plan. I had a few injuries early on, a few niggles here and there. The narrative I wasn't telling myself wasn't a good narrative. It was like what's going. It was rather than how do we fix it. It was like, why is this going wrong for me?
Yeah,
I was a bit of the victim. But it's also amazing how fast you can turn that around. I strained my abductor 10 days out from the Olympics at the London Diamond League. And I was like, well, my Olympics is over. Somehow I got to the Olympics thinking I could win it.
Yeah.
And that was just the power of the narrative I was telling myself about stuff and celebrating. I know it's a cliche thing, but like celebrating the small wins. Like, you know, on Monday I couldn't do this exercise. Now I can do it with a tiny bit of pain.
Yeah.
You know, and then, you know, oh, well, today I actually had a full throw. Well, I haven't been able to have a full throw for 4 days. How good's that, you know? And then, you know, just bit by bit, block by block. And look, I had a great team behind me. We were all heading in the same direction. We were all really clear about it. But the mental side was the biggest side for me in that 10-day period. Like, what right did I have the season that I had getting to the Olympic Games thinking I could win it? I had no right, but that's the thing about sport, right, is no one's won it before the event.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, there's been some massive fucking blow-ups. Sorry. There's been some massive blow-ups at multiple world championships, you know, rugby world cups.
Yeah.
You know, a team should have, you know, ran in and taken it by, you know, 30 points and it doesn't happen or whatever.
Beauty of sport, eh?
Beauty of sport,
Yeah.
right? So the belief part is so important, and also the narrative for me, the narrative I tell myself around that stuff is, as I get older, is so important too, because people start to refer to you as the old guy at shot put, which they are now, and then you can spin that in two ways, right? You can go, oh yeah, I'm old, I've got this niggle here, I've got this niggle here, I don't know how long I got left. It's like, well, or you can say, oh well, I'm the old guy, I've got experience, I know what to do, I've been here, I've done this before, like I've had more reps under my belt, you know, so it's just so easy to change that, and your outlook on life can change dramatically if you're not careful around that stuff. And so a wee checkpoint for me was my phone screen. I wrote down a few things on it, and that was my home phone screen. So every time I pick it up, I tried to be conscious about reading it, checking in with it, and making, like, answering each one.
That's cool.
And then moving forward, yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize it was so close, like 10 days out of the Olympics.
Yeah.
You had actually already injured yourself.
Yeah, I'd strained my adductor.
Oh, jeez.
So we kind of thought that I was almost out of the woods.
Yeah.
Because I got back to, I might have had probably 3 or 4 throw sessions. So the first 4 or 5 days wasn't much at all.
Yeah.
But then I got to throwing a little bit. I got to probably throwing at 70%. I got throwing 80%. Might have got up to 90%. But yeah, and then probably 2 months or month and a half before that, I strained my pubis bone as well. Too, so it wasn't the smoothest of build-ups. And then I did it real good in the final. And I think the only reason, well, not the only reason, but one of the reasons why it happened was I hadn't thrown back-to-back, so I hadn't put my body under that much tension back-to-back days.
Yeah, okay.
We'd always had a break in between for tendon regeneration and all that kind of stuff. And also, the throw I did it on was a shit hot throw. Like, that throw was going 22 something.
Yeah.
I just and my body just hadn't been put under that much stretch and tension and all that kind of stuff, and I just couldn't handle it.
Far out. Well, you did well to qualify, really, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I should have always qualified. But yeah.
Even with a stuffed adductor.
Yeah. Well, look, it was probably, I don't know, I think it was probably at 90% by then.
Oh, yeah.
But I've won world championships on a torn adductor. So,
oh, really?
Yeah, in 2017, I tore my adductor the day before.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So, like, having a strained adductor, I was kind of like, oh, well, I've done this with a tore adductor. So, but then I tore everything.
So you were thinking that in the final, like once you had torn it, you were thinking that's why you were still throwing, because you're like,
oh, well,
done this before.
Yeah, I kind of knew it was probably worse.
Oh, yeah.
Because I felt two things. When I've done my adductor before, I've kind of felt one thing, and I kind of felt a big pop, and then I found another pop. I was like, that's something.
Yeah.
But one thing that I said to myself, that I didn't want to go into the qualifying or the final not committing. I want to leave it all out there, right?
Yeah.
And in the qualifying round, the first throw was rubbish. Like, it was not, I didn't commit. I rushed everything. And the second throw was spot on. Like, I committed to it. I was long and loose and, like, let it all happen. And so, again, that was the same thing. I just wanted to commit, because if I committed, I at least gave myself a chance to throw a long way.
Yeah.
If I didn't commit, there was no chance in hell I was going to throw a long way. And so I didn't want to sit back here now and talk to you and say, well, I don't know if I could have had another throw.
Yeah.
I know for a fact that I couldn't, right? Like that third throw, I was like, this is going to fucking hurt, but I'm going to know if I could have had a throw or if I couldn't have.
Yeah.
And that was it. And I'd already done the damage, I'd already done the damage to whatever I'd done at that point in time. And it wasn't going to get much worse.
Yeah. That's still so hard to do, eh? It's like fully commit to something when you know that it's going to hurt.
And look, to be honest, it was good until just before my left foot touched the front, and then it was nothing. So, it was challenging, but I'm really proud. And that was kind of, I guess, the narrative too, right? There is so important. Like, it could have been like, well, why does this happen to me here? You know, I've worked so hard for this isn't fair. But it was like, no, well, I'm committing to this. I want to have another go. I've got the opportunity to have another go.
Yeah.
Like, there's only 12 guys in the final. There's another 22 guys that haven't made the final. So, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then what's that like post that to sort of deal with and recover from?
Look, people would probably disagree with me here, but I think I wasn't too bad. I was bad, yes, but I was well aware, because I committed to it, I was somewhat okay that it happened the way it happened.
Yeah.
It didn't happen by me getting short, getting tight, getting pushy. It happened by me actually having a crack, and my body wasn't up to it.
Yeah.
So for me, that probably made the pill a little bit easier to swallow. There was one point in time when I was back here, probably 4 or 5 days. So I came back 2 days afterwards, and probably a weekend, Dana goes to me, you know, it's hard for me too.
Yeah.
And so I was like, okay. Yeah. So sorry, I'm getting a bit emotional.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that was probably the point where I went, actually, I'm back here. You know, yes, I've got to get healthy, but I can't be a complete cock at the same time. Yeah. But yeah, I think for me, I've been completely off social media pretty much the whole time. My lovely wife does a lot of the posting. I've taken videos and stuff. But I didn't want to, because I was missing out, because I was meant to come home for 10 days, then go back across for 4 or 5 weeks for the end of the season to finish off the year.
Oh, still touring?
Yeah, still touring. So, and so I was missing that. And at the end of the year, it's always fun. Like, it's always like people are a little bit more laid back. The major champs have happened. They're a little bit more relaxed. And so I was missing out on that. And I was just like, well, I know I'm just going to get shitty.
Yeah.
If I see these guys throwing and having a good time. And so I've been completely off. Well, completely. I still head up Facebook Marketplace. There's always a bargain there.
Especially in marshlands.
Oh, geez, I tell you what, do you want a couch? But yeah, completely off like Instagram, really, because I just knew it wasn't going to be good for me.
Yeah.
Because so, and it's been great, and I don't really feel like going back.
Yeah, it's good awareness, because that comparison thing can be so harmful. I know a lot of young players especially struggle with it when you see other players similar age or other people doing such awesome things, and you're just sitting there either injured or not selected.
Like if you can afford to do it, I would. I wouldn't be on social media if I didn't need to be to start with. It's not really my thing, but for me, for my sponsors and so forth like that, that's kind of a requirement.
Yeah.
But I recommend it for anyone if they're going through a tough time with their sport or with life or whatever, like Instagram or social media, like, it's not real, right? Like, I only post the good shit. You don't see me failing at a squat or you know, stuffing up a throw or, you know, that's not what people generally want to see. So it's just not real, mate. And I think if you're going through a challenging time, whatever it is with life, it's a bit of space off that stuff can be probably quite helpful.
It's cool that your wife does it. Like, I've never really seen that work before, but I think it's probably the way forward as well. Someone controlling people's social media.
Yeah. So I still take all the videos and things like that.
Yeah.
You know, obviously I know what's going up there and things, but just being completely off the scroll.
Yeah. Yeah. The deadly scroll.
Yeah, geez, that's a killer, isn't it? So, and especially, you can get really bad with it on the road, and going from hotels to airports to stuff like that. But a lot of the time by yourself too. So just having not having to do that is quite nice too.
Yeah. What would you do in your hotel?
I've got a Fire Stick, so I hook that into the back of the TV and generally, chill out, watch Netflix. Usually lunch goes for about 2 hours. Not because you're eating.
Socialising.
Yeah, socialising. Same with dinner, kind of things like that. So, look, we do, if we have time, we try to go out to different places and see something or see something around the hotel. But to be honest, a lot of the time we fly in, like if the comp's on a Saturday, we fly in Thursday sometime. I could be coming from America to Europe or wherever. So, you're getting there whenever on Thursday.
Yeah.
Train on Friday, compete on Saturday. They ship you out on Sunday morning early. So you don't really have a lot of time to go out and see too much.
Yeah, true. Well, you're probably that guy who's in at breakfast at 6 a.m. and doesn't leave till like 10:30.
Yeah. They're closing them. The lights are off and stuff like that. Yeah, chairs are on tables. Yeah.
See you soon for lunch.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned your training. Like, what is a typical training week for you?
Yeah. Well, it's changed quite dramatically over the years, obviously because I'm getting older now. Traditionally, it's probably been about 35 hours of training a week, and that's, physio appointments, sports psychology appointments, throwing, lifting. A lot of the time, so today I got to the gym at 8:15. Did some of my metrics around my abductor health and stuff like that before a throw session. So that was 8:40. That went to 8:40. We had a performance team meeting, which was my S&C, my throws coach, and my physio around my health, my body health. So that was kind of a wee review about last week and preview into this week. Then got ready for training. Got ready from throwing from about 8:50 to 9:30. 9:30, you have to have a shot in your hand, or otherwise $5 goes into the kitty.
Oh, yeah.
We're working tight on time there, because otherwise things can just roll.
Yeah.
And so I was the first one to be late. I was late by about 3 minutes, so I've got $5 to go in the kitty. And then that went to about 10:30. Shake in between throwing and lifting. Lifting went from probably 10:45 to 12:40, so just shy of that, maybe 2 hours.
Yeah.
Shower, physio, lunch, living and living it up, mate. So that's that used to be 6 days a week.
Yeah.
Now it's probably 4 days a week.
Okay.
Just with life kind of. Me getting older, me not recovering as much as I can. We'll have a sauna tonight for recovery stuff.
Alpine saunas, I saw
Alpine
on the way.
saunas, you've seen the pictures?
Man, how good.
How good indeed. Really love it. But not just, I really enjoy saunaing, but it's also 15, 20 minutes for Dana and I, if Billy plays ball, just to sit and connect without phones, without anything, and talk about the day and talk about what's going on. So I think it's really good for that part of it. So that's kind of like my life. And then being an individual athlete, there's sponsorship requirements. Like last week I was in Auckland. I was in Auckland on Wednesday. I was meant to be in Wanganui on Friday. Next week I've got a speaking thing on Thursday. And then I'm meant to be in Auckland the following week for a few days. So it's I think that's the part people don't quite understand coming from a team sport, is like the individual sports. Great for sponsorship stuff, but you've got to front everything. It's not three guys from the team. Yeah, it's not these three guys get sent out to the school. It's like no, you get sent out to the school. And look, there's a positives and downsides to that, but I wouldn't have it any other way.
And you have to find all your own sponsors. Is that how it works?
Yeah, exactly. I've got Simon, my manager, who's a commercial agent. There goes Billy. So he's goes out there and tries to find deals that fit in with my Tom Walsh brand, I guess you call it, the quotation marks there. Trying to fit into the package, because I don't want to endorse something that I'm not. I don't use, or I don't have some type of relationship with. It's just not really me. Like if a jockey came to me, I'm kind of like, that's not me, you know. Let's be honest, I'm not going to, but you know, for example,
Depends how much.
yeah, well, there's always that. Isn't
Everything's got a price.
Yeah. Everything's got a price, indeed. So it's just like going to live golf, right? How much would it take?
I could imagine you doing the next Avalanche ad with Victor Vito. You're on the back of the horse with your top on.
Yeah, although Victor's have been in a bit better shape than I am.
Oh, it's interesting. Like, it's something we take for granted. Like, you are the commercial team, you're the marketing team, you're the athlete, you're doing everything. You're the manager booking the flights. Like, there's a lot to it.
Oh, look, mate, and I'm really lucky to have a big team behind me. You know, like, I've got Simon, my commercial agent. I've also got an agent who gets me into competitions.
Yeah.
So they kind of do all that stuff. You know, obviously I've got a coach, a throws coach. I've got Quinny, sports psychologist. He hates me calling that mine. What's his actual job title? I don't know. You know, Ben, physio. I've got massage therapist Simon, nutritionist Bex. I've got two S&Cs who work closely together on my program. I'm probably missing someone, but you know, it's a big old room full of people behind me who are getting me to do what I do, right?
Yeah.
And they don't all travel, right? But they're all there supporting me and putting their time and effort into it.
Yeah, it's a big team. And we've only really spoken around the tougher times of your throwing, but man, you've had some glory moments. Any that sort of stand out? You've basically won it all, barring an Olympic.
Yeah. That's the one thing Hamish has got over me. And he doesn't remind me about it at all, does he?
He carries it everywhere.
Doesn't he watch? He's in the gym today. You got that gold medal with you, buddy? No. What was the best moment? Probably 2017 World Champs outdoors. That was when I tore my abductor the day before. So that was one of the things that I kind of didn't know if I could throw. Did my two qualifying. I did my two warm-ups for my qualifying throws, and they hurt like hell.
Yeah.
And then I went in, and somehow I got through the qualifying first throw, 22 meters, not sore at all. And I was like, what's going on here? It turns out adrenaline's great. Then got through the final, led from first round to last round by throwing further and further each round. And then couldn't walk about 3 hours later.
Oh, yeah.
So, but also having Dana was there at the time. Dana, my parents were there. My first coach, Ian, was there, who we chatted about.
Yeah.
Dale, my coach at the time, was obviously there, and his wife, and Dana's sister was there as well with her husband. So, yeah, it was just awesome to have that there under those circumstances too.
Yeah.
I still remember my father having a few too many whiskeys, and he just kept on going around and asking people, like, what does it feel like to be the world champion's girlfriend? And then he'd go around to, my coach, what does it feel like to be the world champion's coach? So, he didn't have a great sleep that night, I don't think.
Oh, that's so good. And like, how does a world champs compare to a Commonwealth game? Because you won a couple of those.
Yeah, I think my probably own internal expectations are to win Com games, where world champs is the world, right?
Yeah.
A little bit more challenging. The whole world's there. Where Commonwealth games traditionally, men's shot put's not the strongest in the Commonwealth.
Oh, yeah.
You've really got us, GB, and Jamaica.
Yeah.
Australia haven't had a shot putter for a while, so there's that. A little bit easier, but Com Games is awesome too because you're in the whole team, New Zealand team atmosphere. You're in a village. The New Zealand Olympic team does some awesome stuff around that, around getting kind of the whole team behind you and knowing when everyone's kind of competing. They always set up like a lounge or a point where you go and watch 3 or 4 events on at once, and they've got a big whiteboard there who's doing what time, cool. and it's a real kind of community, and they do some awesome stuff with not a lot of money. So that's pretty cool. But World Champs is as hard as it gets, pretty much, along with the Olympics, obviously, but as hard as it gets.
And indoor and outdoor, any difference?
Indoor's really challenging to win. Even though I've won 3. No, World Indoors is tough too. It's tough too. smaller field sizes usually, so more
Okay.
pointy. So there's 32 or 36 guys at Olympics or World Champs. There's usually 16.
Yeah.
Not all the guys do it always, but 95% of the guys. There might be 2 or 3 guys missing sometimes.
Yeah.
But it's good. It's a better spectacle, I personally think, for athletics, because it's a 200-meter track rather than a 400-meter track.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's smaller. It would fit in the Vector arena. Well, it doesn't quite fit in the Vector arena. It's very close to fitting in.
that's
But
right.
so it's kind of inside a basketball kind of stadium. The crowd much more on top of you. Actually, we're trying to get World Indoors.
Oh, yeah.
In 2028.
Te Kaha Stadium.
Takaha,
Is it?
exactly. We're trying to. We just need the government to play a little ball, throw a bit of cash in.
Jeez, that'd be cool.
That would be pretty cool. Yeah, absolutely. And there's one major champs that we can hold as a nation.
yeah.
Not that expensive compared to a lot of other events holding here. And I think we did so well. We're third on the medal tally in Glasgow
Yeah.
for World Indoors. So we did so well over there. So, I think it's New Zealand athletics right now is in a golden era of, performance. When I first came out in 2014, there was really Val and Nick Willis, really,
Yeah.
that were on the scene, who were really, truly professional. The Stewie Farquhar and a few others here and there. But now, like when I go to the Diamond League, there's 5 or 6 other Kiwis.
Yeah.
At each Diamond League, when for the longest period of time, if I saw another Kiwi on tour, I was like, oh, hey, mate, so I think we're athletics in New Zealand right now is at a real key point. We've got obviously Hamish, we've got Maddie, we've got Jacko, you got myself, you got the pole vault girls, the 3 pole vault girls
Yeah.
who made the final. You got some middle distance guys and girls, as we always do. Maya Ramsden, Geordie Beamish, obviously Zoe.
Yeah,
Hobbs
yeah.
is pretty cool. So, we've got I've probably missed someone too. Oh, Sammy Tanner.
Yeah.
We've got a great group of kids, and hopefully we can kind of grow the sport a little bit and get some more young kids wanting to go that way instead of team sports.
Yeah. Mate, well, geez, you're definitely inspiring a whole new generation. Obviously, one thing around shot put is balancing the work and life. Like, you were building through all of this, or when did you become
Yeah.
full-time shot put?
2017.
You fully committed,
Yeah, so-
no more 3 days.
No more 3 days. So I kind of went 5 days a week, then I went down to 3 days a week, then I went down to 3.5 days a week. And then I was talking to the head foreman at Mike Greer, and the guy said to me, he said, Tommy, I was worried about like pulling out of something. Like I was like, oh mate, like I've got to go to something next week. I'm sorry, the short notice. And he's like, Tommy, look, I don't even count you as being there or not being there when you're there.
Oh, yeah.
And I was kind of like, ding, ding, ding.
Yeah, yeah.
He doesn't actually need me.
This is my chance.
Yeah, this is my chance out. So I actually don't think I ever truly resigned. I just stopped working. So the last job I did was actually building this house.
Oh, yeah. You built it yourself.
Oh, no, bits and pieces. I was on the crew that built it. And then I kind of stopped then. But I still do bits of it. We've got 20 acres out in the Hoka.
Oh, yeah.
So actually not too far from Joe. And so I've built a big shed out there and things like that. So I like having my hand in it, but it's it's definitely much easier doing what I do without building.
Yeah, I was
Yeah.
gonna, geez, you've done a good job with this house. What an absolute mansion.
Yeah, no, it's nice. We're pretty proud of it. And it's good, obviously in a great area, mate.
Wow, the mayor has spoken.
Yeah.
And I guess when you came back from that Olympic game, you had a decision to make around whether you commit to another 4 years, or was that always a decision that you were going to go for another Olympic title? Or how hard was that for you?
It was pretty easy.
Yeah.
Look, I still love what I do. I still get excited about trying to figure out throwing. I think obviously it's going to change dramatically this year with the Billy coming along and figuring out that dynamic. But yeah, this is the first probably. I've had injuries throughout the years, but I've only had injuries that have put me off for about 2 weeks at a time.
Oh, shit.
And
that's
had
good.
modified training. So this is the first big one that has kind of really put me back.
Yeah.
So my body's really good still. And yeah, I'm just really excited for another 4 years, mate. We've had a strategy plan for our next 4 years. We're working through that at the moment, working out what it looks like, what each year is building towards, and things like that. So it's a big old process, as I'm sure you're aware with rugby stuff. But it's I still love it, mate. I still think I'm still can be competitive. I can be right at the pointy end. I can win stuff. So
Yeah.
a lot of unfinished business for me. Yeah,
Is the goal to win the Olympics in 4 years' time?
not here to fuck spiders.
Yeah. Didn't think so.
No. So look, I'm going to have a red hot crack at it.
Yeah. So you talk about that 4 year plan. What does that look like? Are you peaking at certain times for different tournaments, or how do you sort of?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Like there's generally like 3 times a year where we kind of build up towards.
Yeah.
Usually it's your world champs, world indoors, Commonwealth games, Olympic games,
Yeah,
kind of things like that. So we're really lucky with athletics as we do have we have a major every year, where some of these sports don't necessarily have majors every year that are Olympic based, or as big as as big a platform as what world champs and stuff is. So we're really lucky there to have that, and kind of each year for the next 4 years is kind of just figuring out, what we need to do to kind of get to the point where we need to be in 2028.
Yeah. Oh, exciting, mate.
It is.
Looking forward to
Yeah.
following it very closely. But you mentioned the becoming a dad too. Like that's probably a big topic that we could discuss. Like that's
Any advice?
wow. Enjoy the roller coaster, the highs and like a career, I'd imagine, highs and lows of sport and highs and lows of being a parent. Like there's some tough times, but some awesome times as well. And you've been a dad for a month.
Yep.
Have you found it so far?
I found it. I've enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Yeah.
And the caveat to that is that every other newborn I've had dealings with has obviously not been mine, right?
It makes a big difference.
And it's just been kind of like, here, hold them for like 5 minutes.
What do I do with
And
it?
then they start crying. I'm like, oh, what have I done wrong? When really you've done nothing. And so, seeing her kind of get a little bit, like change literally like most days, right?
Yeah.
A little bit more aware or things like that is pretty cool. And trying to help out Dana, because obviously Dana's in the trenches at the moment.
Yeah.
Feeding and stuff like that, where I can, go and train or and get away from it. So, I've really actually enjoyed it. I've enjoyed the challenge, which it is, and I think it's really made Dana and I have to work on our communication a lot better, because sometimes we're both sleep deprived and the communication is not quite on point, so it's not quite right, and so it's been a challenge, but it's been good so far.
Mate, what a dad, you're nailing it.
I don't know about that. Dana's doing most of the work.
Have you got plans for a big family, or what are you?
I'm not going 4 like you, mate.
Not one and done, are you?
No, not one. No. I think we'll go 2.
Oh yeah.
That's kind of what
you'll nail one of each straight away.
one of each, not like you. We'll go 2. I'm from a family of 2. Dana's from a family of 3. I don't know. That's what we're thinking at the moment.
Yeah, nice, mate.
Why'd you go 4?
Well, chasing the girl.
You were chasing the girl.
Yeah. Always, but 4 is enough. I can officially confirm that is us done. But anyway, we have gone to the Instagram for some questions, and man,
here we go.
Oh, I had to spend a lot of time on my Instagram scrolling through all the questions that came through.
Filtering them.
Thousands came through. But first question: if not shot put, what sport would you play?
Are they asking like could I be good at, or what would I like to be good at?
What would you like to be good at? What would you be your dream?
Cricket would be pretty cool.
Yeah.
People say golf quite a lot, and I'm a pretty keen golfer. I'm not sure if you can see the big driver in the background, but I think people don't understand the slog that golf would be.
Yeah.
Playing a 4-day tournament, then going to your next spot, 2 or 3 practice rounds, playing a 4-day tournament, boom,
Relentless.
Where cricket, there's a lot of time spent off the field. Yeah. I'd love that. It would be pretty cool.
And a team environment.
And a team environment,
mate.
chatting away. Just the amount of fun I had playing cricket and just talking absolute trash for most of it.
Yeah.
Is awesome.
I'm surprised you haven't been on the Black Clash.
I have been.
Oh, you have?
Yeah.
How'd you go?
34 off 26 or something.
Oh,
like
you're
that.
kidding.
So,
Hey, absolutely.
It was quite good because over the years I've got to know Flem pretty well.
Oh, yeah.
Which is pretty cool. And because he was one of my heroes growing up. There's another story to that, but Anyway, he'd been at me for a few years about playing the Black Cash. I'm like, Flem, no, this year just doesn't quite work. It's always around the start of comp season.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I was in the Mount 2 years ago, and Flem goes to me, and he hates playing because cricket players are meant to be good, right?
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
their sport, they're meant to be good. So if they don't do well, then why didn't you do well?
It's a lose-lose situation.
Absolutely,
for them,
yeah. And so anyway, he said to me, Tommy, look, I'll bat one behind you no matter where you bat, right? Because he wanted to bat with me. We played golf quite a bit together. And so for once, I was actually quite fast-witted. And I said, all right, Flem, I'll bat one. And he goes, oh, you bastard. Because he had to open with me, didn't he? So that was pretty cool batting with him. Because I still remember looking at the board at one point. It was like Flem, Perori, Marshall. Who else was in that team?
It wasn't me, by the way.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was... it wasn't your twin.
Hamish, my brother Hamish.
Yeah, it was pretty cool to have that opportunity and play with some of those guys.
Yeah, man, that is cool. I'm surprised they haven't invited you back then with that sort of strike, right?
Yeah, I should. Yeah, the ring-in has to be a little bit worse. No. So, no, it was good fun. I'll definitely, if they ask me to do it again, I'll do it again.
You would, yeah. Well, they've gone with Sean Johnson this year, haven't they?
Yeah, probably a little bit more athletic.
Downgraded a wee bit.
More athletic
in terms
in
of
the field,
runs.
but that's all right.
Okay. Oh, well, a few came in about golf. Like, how come you're so big but can't drive a ball over 200 meters? This came in twice.
Did
Paul
it?
Cole, Hamish Kerr as well.
Oh, aren't they good guys, those two? Yeah. Colesey's very good.
Is he?
Very good. He plays off about a scratch. Hamish.
Shit.
Hamish can hit a big ball, but by God, he can't putt. No. Why can't I? I don't know. I'm not that good. I blame my shot put, but really it's just me. I'm good around the greens. I play off about a 9. So
Oh, yeah. Oh, geez,
handy
that's
around the
decent.
greens. Just can't. I'm not that good at driving it.
True. What do you just tap it down the fairway?
Yeah, I wouldn't say tap it. I'm just saying my swing's not that efficient. Yeah.
Have you got an aggressive swing, but it just doesn't
Yeah,
go
it
far?
just
Oh,
doesn't
yeah.
go far. Yeah. My smash factor, if you know what that is not good. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. Okay, biggest lifts. This came in quite a bit around bench and squat.
Yeah. I've squatted 310.
Wow.
This is about 6 or 7 years ago.
Yeah.
Asked to grass.
Ask the grass.
Yeah. Do it properly. I don't do it at all. Bench is one of my better ones. Is 245 I've done.
Yeah.
For one. But my best lift is my trap bar. Do you know what a trap bar
Yeah,
deadlift
trap
is?
bar. Yeah, that's my go-to.
Yeah, so it's slightly easier than a deadlift. Yes, everyone will ask, but I've done 430
430.
or 3.
Wow, right.
So that's my best lift to date by far. Like, yeah. So
That's
I've got
incredible.
a strong back, and so that's it's pretty good.
Did you ever look to go into like the strongman lifting?
No, not really interested in that.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is I'm not that strong in shot put terms.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I'm probably on now because of my age. Now I'm probably in the middle.
Yeah.
Maybe lower middle, but like Joe Kovacs, who's one of the best shot putters of all time, Joey, he squatted 400 kgs for 5.
Wow, right.
And again, asked to grass, he is properly strong, He
That's
benches
crazy.
like 300 kgs, like it's just madness, I think he's actually done 320, but yeah, so
Yeah, it's crazy. What would you say the most important lift is for a shot putter?
cleans, probably power cleans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I think they've done studies on it. So it has a high correlation to as far
yeah.
as you throw. So, yeah,
What's your clean?
I've done 180. Horrible,
Yeah.
like straight legged out, like wide split, like not good. More just brute strength.
Got it up.
Got it up. That's the main thing. It was on the shoulders. Yeah.
Oh, man, that is strong. Okay, this one. What's your weekly sauna routine? A lot of Alpine Spa listeners obviously loving this.
If you want a sauna, go to Alpine Spas. Weekly sauna, 20 minutes, about 3 or 4 days a week.
Oh, yeah.
More of a guy who goes in once, gets it done, and gets out. We've got an infrared one in the garage.
Yeah.
Goes up to 70 degrees. It's different to like the stone,
Yeah.
the Coles one, stone one. I feel like I stay hotter for longer. Where in this the steam one,
Yeah.
it's more like the air's hotter.
Yeah.
And you burn like
Humidity,
you like burn your nose more.
Lose your nose hairs.
Where like I feel like this one, like it actually soaks into you more,
yeah.
the infrared. Yeah.
And do you contrast that with colds? Or
No,
you're
not
just a
at all.
straight sauna man?
I played around with some cold stuff, cold showers a little bit,
Oh, yeah.
and bits and pieces, but my body doesn't like the cold too much. No, like seriously, like fascially, I get like quite tight.
Oh, really? Oh, jeez.
So yeah, the warmth is definitely.
Yeah, you're
my
a
cup of
warm
tea.
man.
Yep.
You're cold enough already, isn't it, down here? Okay, is weight training more important in shot put or the training on the ground?
When they say training on the ground, I'm guessing they're talking about throwing balls.
I'm guessing that.
Yeah.
Let's go with that.
Yeah. I would say, throwing shot is the most important thing. That's what you're there to do. You can throw a long way and not be that strong. There is a tipping point though. Like I think you can get to probably 2150. It's pretty challenging to get further than that without having some horsepower behind you. Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So 2150 being.
Oh, like the thing is, right, they're still going, because of what you're doing,
Yeah.
you're still going to get strong.
Yeah.
But it's not, I don't think strength is as important for throwing shot put as what a lot of people worldwide think it is.
Yeah. Well, if you give a really strong guy a shot put, he's probably not going to be able to put it very far.
No, exactly. Yeah. Well, 'cause it doesn't, it's not going to hurt too, but it can hurt after a point, but it's not going to probably hurt the strength either too much. So.
Yeah. Well, like that. Okay. How many cheeseburgers could you eat in one sitting? Have you done this?
No, my mate's done it. It might have come from him. I don't know. Cheeseburgers, I reckon 8 or 9, probably not that much, but my days of eating challenges are well behind me, James. They just like, I'm old now. I'm a bit older now. I'm a bit smarter, I think.
Yeah.
Definitely done a lot of eating challenges in my time. There was this one in Melbourne that was a 2 kg burrito.
Oh.
They reckon it was about 7 burritos, but I reckon it was 2 kgs before the rice absorbed all the water. And the worst thing is you like, it comes out this piping hot on this big dish.
Yeah.
And so you cut it all open, right? Because it's just steaming, like you burn your mouth. And of course, 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, all the rice is cold and gloating. And so you're trying to get through this thing that now has turned from, steaming hot, the temperature of the sun, to like freezing cold, like Antarctica. And it's just horrendous. I think that was probably one of my last ones. But, yeah.
Was it a race or just
you
had to get through it?
I think you had half an hour to get through it.
Oh, yeah.
I think I got through, if it was 7 burritos, I probably got through like 5.5.
Oh, okay. Gave it a good nudge.
I gave it a good nudge, but didn't quite get there.
And you're more of a social eater anyway. You're not in a race to get through.
No. I've got mates who are definitely better at eating more than I am.
Okay. Our favourite rugby player. Can't be Joe Moody.
He's just retired. He's not a rugby player anymore. Who is my favourite rugby player at the moment? Cody Taylor.
Is it? Yeah.
He's a good
good Martians man too.
He's a good mate. He's just over there. He's got a pool too. Anyone wants to swim? No, he's good. And he's only got better with age too, right?
Oh,
so
mate, how good's he playing at the moment? He's
yeah, so good. Yeah.
real class. Good shout. Okay. Are you confident that your sport is clean?
I don't care.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not true. I do care, but I don't let it affect me and the decisions I make.
Yeah.
Because I think I can beat everyone no matter what.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I've got to go with. And even if you are on it, I'm going to fucking beat you anyway.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
It's a cool mindset.
Because you can waste so much time on that stuff, right?
100%. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's been a few guys who have been.
Yeah, not in shot put in a long time.
Not so much.
Not so much, but the events that have a bit more money
Oh,
a little bit like sprints and middle distance are definitely.
Yeah.
They have a lot. They don't have a lot. They have
A
a few people every year that kind of gets popped. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, interesting. How many litres of milk does Tom consume a day?
Not a lot anymore. I used to have a lot more shakes.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm 135 kgs now, but it took me 7 or 8 years to get there. And probably while I was building, I used to have like 3 shakes a day to just try and get more calories in. But look, I probably only have 1 or 2 shakes a day now. So maybe a liter a day.
Wow. So have you always been bulking throughout your
Yeah,
career?
it wasn't just like I put it on in 6 months.
Yeah.
It probably took me from, realistically, probably 21 maybe when I started to try, really put size on until 28.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So
What weight would you say you naturally are?
I reckon when I retire, I will get down to like 110.
Oh, yeah.
105 would be light, 110. I've been up to 142,
Shit.
and I knew that it was too far when I had to pop my knee out to the side when I was trying to do my shoelace up. I couldn't come straight over. I couldn't get there. So I had to pop the knee out the side to kind of do the shoelace on you'll know if you've been that big. What I'm talking about.
Well, I have to do that because my hip stuff, but
Yeah.
never quite because of my size.
Yeah, keep it that way.
Yeah. Recommendations for balancing sport and a trade.
Oh, tough it is, and I think physically on the body, the trade's incredibly hard, right? Like just being on your feet all day and then trying to get to training in somewhat mental shape.
Yeah.
I guess one thing is be really honest to your boss about what you're trying to achieve, whether you are really trying to get better at your sport or whether you want that apprenticeship or you don't want that apprenticeship. I think being honest is probably the big thing. I took a lot of unpaid leave, so essentially it took the stress off my employer as much as I could.
Yeah.
But I think being honest about what you're trying to get out of it, right?
Yeah.
Because it might be something that you go back to in time where you might need that person too. So, and I think being organized too, right? Like I remember those times where I used to come home, I'd pack all my lunch and all my stuff I needed the night before.
Yeah.
So I could get, I could just in theory get as much sleep as I could.
Yeah.
Even though it didn't really matter whether it was the night before or the night after, but I could try to get as much sleep. So just organization, right? Is trying to have everything like lined up and, it's, those two things, trying to be as organized as you are so you're not forgetting things and being honest with your boss, what you're there for and what you're trying to get out of it.
Yeah. And I loved your point throughout the podcast where you're committed to it as well to then get the rewards. Like at some point I feel players have to commit to what they want to do or what their dream is, and that's where you get the real success when you're willing to make that commitment.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of people think they are willing to do that.
Yeah.
But they're not quite.
And they don't.
It's, the Viking thing, right? Burn the boats. Like, are you willing to burn the boats? So you've got to sort this out to get home or whatever it is. So, it's, at some point in time, like you've got to just fully commit. And throw out everything everyone's ever given you about hedging your bets and all this kind of stuff and just go for it.
Yeah. Oh, I like it. Okay. Why does he have a big beer? Oh, why the big following in the beer community? Does he still sell items of clothing to them?
Who was that from?
I'm not sure.
Well, look, fans are fans. Let's just start with that. If you want some light reading, go to a wee reel that the Crowd Goes Wild did with me just before Paris.
Oh, yeah.
Scroll down the comment sections. You'll enjoy it. Take it with a grain of salt. I'm okay, guys. So, look, there is, I think, to be honest, this gay following, Joe Kovac started the gay following in the shot put. Joe did an interview with this magazine who he thought was just this German magazine who wanted to talk to him about shot put. Turns out this German magazine was a gay German magazine, and essentially the gay followers have just gone bananas and been shot put. And so we are now if people know what a beer is in the gay community, do you know what a beer is?
No, what is it?
Well, are you just about to learn something today, James? So a beer is just a big guy, right? What I didn't realize though is that there's 3 different types of beers. And I was told this by a gay guy who was very much hitting on me at the time. And he said to me, there is a grizzly beer, which is a big hairy guy. Some gay guys like big hairy guys. There is a polar bear, which is a big fat guy. Yeah. And he said, as he rubbed my arm, he said, now you're the rarest of the lot. You're a muscly bear. So a big muscly guy.
You're a combination.
I'm a combination of all. Just the best parts. But no, so I do have quite a big gay following. And to be honest, a lot of the shot put boys do too.
Really? Is that on social media?
Yep.
Man, I read that question and I had no idea
where
that was going with that. That was going, but man, that's interesting.
Yeah. So they're quite straightforward and upfront though.
Are they positive? Like, to you? Or,
About my body.
or is this why you're off social media?
Yeah, maybe it was triggering. Go and have a read though. You'll enjoy.
It's triggering. Okay. 2 more. How far can he put a toilet these days? Apparently in year 13 you had to put a toilet.
Yeah, they're doing a school fair, and one of the things was a toilet. I don't know how far I threw it, but I also threw a toaster. And I hit someone with the toaster too. So,
what sort of toilet? Like just a
ceramic,
Really?
toilet
yeah.
base thing. I don't think it went that far, but
what do we heavy?
yeah, it was.
Yeah.
yeah. But the toaster hit someone because they were way too close. Like they gave me probably like a 3-meter window to throw it down, and the toaster's pretty light, so it's going to go somewhere, right? Yeah.
Okay, last question. Best piece of advice you have for a Waterlad listener?
What is the best piece? Well, look, I think it's a bit cryptic, and it took me probably 5 or 6 years to figure out from Ian. Ian used to always like finish with a cryptic kind of saying.
Yeah.
And he said to me one day, he said, "Don't push the river, let it flow by itself."
Ooh.
Yeah, which is a little bit, and I think I figured it out. So essentially, it's like, look, things will happen when they're meant to happen, but just keep trying. Essentially, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what. And at different points of time, I've definitely been guilty of pushing the hell out of the river.
Yeah.
And the river always wins.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I like it. Just go with the flow and enjoy the highs and lows and
Obviously,
the rapids. And
yeah. Obviously, you've got to commit to doing that.
Yeah.
And you've got to work hard and stuff like that. But like sport and life is not, a straight line. You know? And sometimes, you've just got to go with it and come out the other side, and then who knows what will happen.
Oh, mate, what a way to finish one of the greatest podcasts ever. Like, some story, and like honestly, like you are a true legend of New Zealand sport here, especially in marshlands. And,
Thank you.
and it's been awesome to sit down and go through your journey, like the highs and lows, the mental battle, the physical battle, and what's next for you. It's exciting times. So, mate, really appreciate you coming on the podcast, and you're a true lad.
Hey, cool. Hey, thanks, James, mate. No, look, I really enjoy doing podcasts because it's obviously gives me time to reflect on my own stuff too a little bit and remember some of the stuff that has happened, because I think sometimes we're always all about looking forward a little bit and sometimes forget about looking back. So thanks for the opportunity.
Well, if you ever want to come on again, mate, I'm only 200 metres down the road.
Too easy.